Greetings, comic friends. It is Wednesday, so we're doing TGIW. Thank God it is Wednesday. Um, we had some things happened this week. Some things happened. As usual, no one to blame but myself, but things definitely happened. So it's a little pricier week than usual. And right off the bat, it was a 15-book week. It's a little high for what's been going on. It is also a limited series heavy week. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, pretty heavy on the limited series. We'll start with that. And this is what I am trying to cut back on, and I think I've been doing a good job for the most part. But man, they stacked up this week. So have the Marvels. So I've been getting all of these Marvels, like it was Marvels, there's Marvels X and Marvel Snapshot and Marvels and all that. And I think I'm gonna stop on these. They're not horrible. They're just in wanting to cut back. It's kind of low hanging fruit. So because I think at one of my shops I have whatever comes out with this Marvel stuff, just automatically sign me up for. Because usually as soon as one ends, another one starts up. And they're not really connected to each other in any way. But and again, they're good. It's just if anything can go, then it's probably this. And it's one less, set of limited series that I need to worry about. Parasomnia number 4. This is really good. I think this is the last issue. I probably should have waited for a trade on this. Probably would have read better, but it is interesting. I do enjoy it. I need to get back into the habit of relying on trades for these independent limited series. I was really good at that for a while, and then I don't know, when the pandemic hit and all that stuff, my normal sort of rules and habits of buying comics just kind of got all mixed up. Mostly when comics came back, I started buying more individual issues rather than trades, partly to help support local shops. But now that things are a little bit more back to normal as far as comic release schedules and stuff go, I should probably go back to relying on trades for those. And for example, that's what I'm going to do with Primordial, right? Primordial was something that came out last week, and I had interest in it. So I decided I'm going to borrow the issue number 1 from a friend, and if I like it, I'll get the trade when it comes out. So I need to do that. For Marvel DC stuff, I still like individual issues, but for a lot of the more indie stuff, they usually read better in trade anyway. Nonstop Spider-Man, it hasn't been great, yeah, it's a rough time to be a Spider-Man fan right now. I mean, come on. Extreme Carnage. This is number 8 of 8. So I guess this is it. I was thinking that maybe there'd be an Omega because there was an Alpha, right? But I guess this is it. So this is again, this has been fun. I'm curious to see how this ends, how this wraps up. But it's the end of a limited series, so that's good to free that up. Batman Reptilian. This is another one I probably really didn't need to get a limited series I needed to get, but man, the art is so good. The art is so good. I really, really like it. It has this very Sam Keith vibe to it, so it sucked me in. It's not that the story is bad. The story is really good. It's one of those things where, there's a lot of stuff out there that's good that I don't read. It's just the fact of the matter. But on this one, the art got me. So I can't rake myself over the coals for too much for it, because it does set itself apart from some other limited series maybe, because of that great art. Berserker 5. This continues to be fun. I really like learning the history of this guy, all the way back through, like, caveman-y times, whatever that was called. Yeah, it's a really good book. I think I've probably said it before. I usually stay away from books where non-comic people are involved. So in this case, Keanu Reeves. But this ended up being really, really good. I think the only other series that I picked up that had a non-traditionally comic book person involved with it was probably Kevin Smith's Green Arrow. But even that was safe, right? Because it was Kevin Smith. Like, he wasn't a traditional comic book writer, but he was intimately knowledgeable of comics and read a lot of comics. So it wasn't a huge leap for him to try his hand at that. And that, I mean, Kevin Smith and Phil Hester Green Arrow is one of the best DC runs in comics, in my opinion. But I took the risk on this just because, I mean, it's Keanu. Like, I'll give him a chance, and it paid off. Where I didn't do it with what was it? Amelia Clark. What was her thing? Like Mom or Moms or something? And evidently it was real bad, so I dodged that one. Crossover. It feels it's been a while since we had a crossover. I still really enjoy this book. Though I think the general opinion is that it did not live up to the hype, and that may be true, but it doesn't mean that it's bad, right? I can still enjoy it for what it is, and I do. I do really enjoy it. Department of Truth number 13, and one of my favorite books out there. What I didn't get any variant covers or anything like that. Like, this is Department of Truth usually has a pretty good variant covers. I'm cutting back on those, as you all know, and I was perfectly happy with the A cover. It's nothing spectacular, but the insides are all the same. The insides are all the same. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 121. Still great. I think we're around a jumping on point. Maybe an issue or two before this. I think I've been asked from a couple people about jumping on points for TMNT. I think we're kind of at one. So if you are considering jumping onto it, not a bad idea. It is an absolutely fantastic book. Thor, 17? I don't remember what's going on in this. I remember what's going on pretty much everything else, but I don't remember what's going on in this for some reason. Other people can lift Thor's hammer. Is that it? Is that this? I don't remember the deck story. It's good. I do know that I've been enjoying it just at this moment. It's so hard to keep so many different unrelated storylines in your head at one time. Something is Killing the Children, number 20. This is a really great cover. It's kind of the first time that I actually sat and looked at the cover. This is a pretty great cover. So we're going the backstory of Erica. It's interesting to see that backstory. I think it's a pretty obvious thing for them to do. The original arc was going to just end there, and then they said they wanted more. Like, well, what's the easiest thing for us to do other than coming up with a brand new follow-up to the first major story? Is, well, let's hash together a backstory and give that. Like, yeah, fair enough. Not that I'm complaining. I love a good backstory. Robin, I'm so glad that I picked this up. I think I picked this up when it was 3 issues in or somewhere around there. I'd missed my Damian fix since he hasn't really been hanging around Batman that much. So I decided to go to the source and do his own book, and I love it. On this island where they're all in a tournament to kill each other, and you can die so many times. It's really good. Ravager's there. Roy, Green Arrow Roy is there. It's good. Darkhawk 2, I haven't yet subscribed to this. I got the first issue and I enjoyed it. I decided I pulled number 2 off the shelf when it came and read it and kind of decide from there whether or not I wanted to keep with it. My feelings on Darkhawk are pretty mixed. I love the character. I love Darkhawk. I really don't like his first series from the 90s. It was a fine product of the time, but I've talked about this multiple times. Like the series started out really, really cool, really intriguing, but it fell apart. So if we're gonna get another chance at what I guess what I think Darkhawk, a good Darkhawk might be, I'll give it a shot for 2 issues at least. Superman, Son of Kal-El. It's the only Superman book that I read. It's the only Superman book that I want. I don't care about Clark. John is way more interesting to me, just like Damian's more interesting than Bruce. And this has been good so far. And last but certainly not least, hallelujah, Amazing Spider-Man 74, the end of the Kindred arc, the Kindred storyline. I don't care how it ends. I only care that it is ending. There is, I don't know, there's no ending they could possibly give that would make me, make me happy. There's some endings they can give that would make me relieved and say, oh, thank goodness this didn't count, or you didn't actually screw all of this up. But that's best case scenario. Best case scenario is the stuff that you had happen in your story isn't real, and you didn't F up Spider-Man canon. And that's not good for a best case scenario in my eyes. But I'm glad it's going to be done. I hate it. I've hated the storyline. It's gone on for too long. It has not been good. Even the flirting with messing stuff up, and if in the end it doesn't actually get messed up, just the, like, I don't know, right? You don't mess with Gwen. Leave Harry alone. Like, just, I don't know. I'm just glad that it's over. I got the Momoko cover because I wanted 2 things going for this book. 1, that it's done, and 2, the cover. I'm not expecting to like actually enjoy the content, which is sad because I love Spider-Man. All right, so that was new books. I got a couple of other things. So I picked this up. So this is a Dungeons and Dragons adventure, The Wild Beyond the Witchlight. With so this is the special edition cover, and it's super sexy. That Displacer Beast, look at that. Oh, it's so good. I mean, this was like fun. There's like a carnival going on. There are 2 reasons that I got this, and one's a more surface level reason, and the other's the more real reason. The surface level reason is I get all of these special edition cover D&D books just because they look great on a shelf. They're beautiful. I love them. I love D&D source books in the first place. But when they come out with these special edition ones, I have a hard time saying no. I mean, the real reason is that I buy stuff that I don't need and will never actually use. I mean, if I'm being honest with myself, like, I don't need this, but I do love it. So there's that. And okay, there was something on there. I couldn't tell if it was like a gash in the cover or something on the cover, but it came off, so it was on the cover. And then the other thing I got that I probably didn't really need, but it was a pretty good pickup, is Joker 1, a pretty iconic book. It is one of the most iconic versions of the Joker in this. It's his first time in a solo series, and it's just it's a great book that I didn't have before, and I got it for what I think was a really good price. It's not perfect. It needs a press. It's fairly clean. It has some color breaking spine ticks. Can't do anything about that. There's like a little thing going up here. So there's a couple. There's a handful of unpressable defects. I don't need this book in super mint condition because it's not like a huge key, but it's a pretty iconic book. So I wanted to have a copy of it, and for the price that I got it for and the condition it's in, I think it was a really good deal. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger on it. I've seen less copies go for more, so I'm happy to have this in my collection. It's something that I've kind of wanted for a while, but it wasn't real high up on the list, so I never really sought it out. What I kind of hoped happened, where it'll come to me eventually, and it did. So I went ahead and picked that up. So the two extra things, yeah, I don't know. I got this before I got this. Like, I had checked out with this, and then saw this afterwards. It's like, I already bought this extra thing, but this is great, so I picked that up. It happens. It is what it is. The last couple weeks were nice light weeks, and I mostly behaved myself. Except for that Shazam. I did get that Shazam. Oh well, whatever. It's all good. So that's it. It's a 15 comic week, which is a little bit bigger than the norm, but it's bound to happen, and it was pretty limited series heavy, and that should hopefully continue to die down as time goes on, and I'm going to be even more strict about it going forward. So I'm not terribly worried about it, but I mean, I have a lot of great stuff to read, and that's good. I just finished the book that the book that I was reading, so I have a little extra time for a few more comics for this week. So that's it. Let me know your thoughts, what you got that you're excited about, what you think, just in general about what's going on this week in comics. And like, subscribe, do all that stuff. And of course, don't forget to make yours Titan. This video was brought to you by Titan Comic Pressing. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Titan Comic Pressing LLC.